Hello, and thank you for watching today's Corn Belt Regional Forecast. I'm Andrew Pritchard, meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, we're finally bringing some seasonally appropriate air back into the Corn Belt. The Central and Eastern Corn Belt have been feeling a lot more like summer over the last couple of weeks. 23 consecutive days warmer than average here in Champaign, Illinois, which is where our office is located. And that streak finally ended yesterday with that cold front moving through, and again bringing some cooler and some less humid air into the region. Over the next 5 days, looking cooler overall across a big chunk of the Corn Belt. Now, there will be some warmer days mixed in there, but we're not looking at this excessive warmth. It'll just be a few degrees warmer than average with a couple reinforcing shots of some cooler air coming in. As we head into the day 6 through 10 time period, though, we're watching the potential for a major cold front to come sweeping through the area late next week, bringing some colder temperatures into the region, perhaps a more widespread frost threat, again, as we head into late next week. Precipitation over the next 10 days, well, this is going to be falling here over the weekend. We got a system coming through here Friday, Saturday, and then into early Sunday that's going to be dropping some precipitation across parts of the central Corn Belt here, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, parts of Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, and then on into Illinois late in the day Saturday into Saturday morning. As we look down below the next 10 days, those 6 to 10 day time frame here, we do fill in some precipitation across parts of central Illinois. That is the potential accompanying the late week system that could bring in some colder temperatures to the region. We'll take a look at this all individually here in just a moment. Now, this precipitation that falls right here, that's going to be key because of the last 30 days, we've seen kind of a dividing line right here where parts of the north and west have just seen repeated rounds of showers and storms. Meanwhile, off to the southeast, very dry. Some of these regions haven't even seen measurable precipitation over the last 30 days. And in that, I'm talking specifically about parts of the Mid-South here near the Ohio River Valley, parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. Again, not seeing any rain, any measurable rainfall over the last 30 days. So badly needed. We're hoping this verifies here across parts of the Mid-South, get some rain here, and start to head off the developing drought across this region. Now let's start to dive in. We'll look at the satellite picture here on Friday morning. Again, off to a beautiful start across a big chunk of the Corn Belt. Now we did see temperatures drop below freezing across parts of the eastern Dakotas into far northeastern, or parts of the western Dakotas into northwestern Nebraska. There was some concern early on that we may see some more widespread frost spreading eastward into parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin. And while there might be an isolated spot or two that does see some frost, especially in some low-lying areas, if you make out this faint line here, this kind of faint shaded area right in this region, we had a low cloud deck develop across this area, and those clouds acting to keep things a few degrees warmer, and that kind of acted to head off the frost spreading too far off to the east. Now, as we jump ahead, we'll look at the radar picture. Again, a quiet start to the day for much of us across the Corn Belt. The only folks seeing some rain this morning would be across parts of central Kansas. Some very light showers moving through the area, otherwise a pleasant start to the day. As we get started. Pleasant start because of this area of high pressure across parts of the Great Lakes right now. Again, keeping things quiet across the region except for some showers across central Kansas. As we head into the weekend, into Saturday, we will watch a storm system emerge across parts of the Dakotas. This area of low pressure going to be dragging another front through the region, bringing a chance for some showers and storms to parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Kansas, and Missouri, and then eventually on into parts of the eastern Corn Belt as we head into late Saturday into early Sunday. By the time we get to Sunday morning, seeing that front pushing into the eastern Corn Belt, high pressure once again on the backside, bringing in a reinforcing shot of some cooler and less humid air, and also going to be bringing us some pleasant, quiet weather as we get started next week. So a quiet stretch as we get into the early part of next week, and then watching for that storm system during the late week. Severe weather, not a major concern over the next few days. Maybe watching for an isolated strong storm or two across parts of Nebraska or South Dakota today. Tomorrow along that front, maybe a slight risk or a marginal risk here of an isolated strong storm or two from parts of Iowa into Oklahoma. And then by the time we get to Sunday, that front sweeps well to the south, not looking at any severe weather threat in any organized fashion as we get into the day on Sunday. That big story again continues to be the cooler air spreading into the region. Another reinforcing shot of that arriving here with this cold front on Saturday, keeping things seasonally appropriate, cooler and less humid across the Corn Belt. Now, here were the forecast overnight lows from last night looking at this morning. Again, seeing the sharp cutoff here, we have a little cutoff on where it goes below freezing. So we can see that the forecast was calling for more freezing temperatures across parts of the Dakotas into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Again, the cloud cover across this region acting to keep most areas above freezing, but now we have to watch towards the end of next week for that next shot of a more widespread frost event across the Corn Belt. We'll go ahead and we'll look at our frost model here, kind of looking at the probability of frost, and we'll take this out into early next week. You see pretty clear, and now you're seeing that blue invade. That is the late week storm system. Let me take this back here. Again, watching for the low risk for that frost here early this Friday morning. The clouds kind of helping to keep that at bay across Minnesota and Wisconsin. The frost risk avoids the Corn Belt then as we get started next week with some slightly warmer temperatures moving into the region. We're getting into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday now. You're starting to see these blue colors creeping back in. This will be Thursday morning, looking at the chance for frost across the Dakotas. Friday and then into Saturday, though, that risk becomes more widespread, and even some low probability, at least, of frost extending well into the central Corn Belt by the time we get to next weekend. So this is something we're going to be talking about a lot. The precipitation, not so much a concern over the next 7 to 10 days. There are some corridors that we need rain, or we're hoping to get that, but not looking at any significant flooding threat over the next week. It's the temperatures we're going to be talking about a lot, watching for that potential late next week. Looking at the hazards map this morning, we did have a frost advisory across parts of Nebraska and Iowa, frost advisories across parts of northern Michigan into the northeast here as well, and even a freeze warning across parts of northern Michigan into parts of the northeast as well, where the risk for some colder temperatures is a little bit more significant. Looking at the forecast radar then, we can kind of diagnose this storm system that's coming in here over the weekend. We'll go ahead and we'll step through time with this one, getting started on Friday morning, watching these light rain showers across parts of central Kansas. This will become more widespread and lift off to the north and northeast over the afternoon and evening hours, perhaps some rain moving into eastern Nebraska and southwestern Iowa into northern Missouri as we head through the afternoon and evening today. Getting into the overnight and early Saturday morning, this is when the storm system takes on that more well-defined classic look, the area of low pressure across Minnesota, cold front extending south from there with showers and storms along it, and then cold precipitation wrapping around on the backside here. Not enough cold air that we're talking about any snow falling across the Dakotas or Minnesota, but certainly an unpleasant chilly rain as we start the day on Saturday. Getting into Saturday afternoon and evening now, we watch this front sweeping through the eastern Corn Belt now, moving through Missouri and parts of Illinois, bringing a broken line of showers and storms through the region. Some people may end up getting missed by this, again, late Saturday into Saturday night across Illinois and Indiana into Missouri. And people who do get hit, we're not expecting any flooding rain. This isn't a situation where the frontal boundary stalls across the region. We see multiple rounds of showers and storms. It's going to be a here it comes and there it goes type situation as this front quickly moves through the area. Total accumulated precipitation then again going to be heaviest across this corridor. I should redraw this more like this across eastern Nebraska and Kansas through Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, with precipitation more broken as you head off toward the east across eastern Missouri into Illinois and Indiana and on east and south from there. Now taking a look at a little bit longer term here, we can kind of diagnose the next couple of storm systems with the GFS. Again, high pressure sitting over the area as we get started on Friday morning. We'll watch this storm system emerge from the west here across the Dakotas as we get started early Saturday morning, taking this into midday Saturday and now Saturday evening, Saturday night, watching this quickly move from west to east through the region. High pressure on the backside, off to a beautiful start to the next week. It's as we get into late next week, getting into Thursday now, into Friday, we'll watch for this next storm system, potentially more significant storm system, bringing heavier rain into parts of the eastern Corn Belt and the Mid-South that badly need it, and perhaps bringing a much stronger shot of some cold air into the region. So this is something we'll talk about more as we get into next week. But for now, I leave you with a very pleasant start to next week and a very a good chance of some rain here across an area that badly needs it here Monday and Tuesday. Otherwise, high pressure dominating the Corn Belt as we get the week started next week. Total accumulated precipitation from the National Blended Model will play this out, and you'll see each storm system kind of slipping through the area. Here comes the weekend system right there, and then here comes next week's storm system right there. So let's go ahead, we'll take it back one more time, just timing this out for you. Here we go, get back here, clicking and pausing, bringing it back. Here's the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday precipitation right there. On Monday and Tuesday, getting some more significant precipitation across this area that badly needs it, Kentucky, Tennessee, into Ohio. Again, that's Monday and Tuesday where that precipitation falls across that region. Quiet for everyone else across the Corn Belt here Monday, Tuesday, and for much of Wednesday. It's as we get into Thursday and Friday, perhaps into next weekend, watching for that next storm system to bring some precipitation through this region here, in addition to the potential for some colder air coming in on the backside and a more widespread frost risk. We'll see that here. Let's play the temperatures here. You see a pleasant start to the week, seasonally appropriate temperatures. What is that coming in from the northwest? That is a powerful cold front sweeping through again, potentially late next week, bringing some freezing temperatures into a bigger chunk of the northern and central Corn Belt. Your high temperatures for the next 5 days, look at the 50s widespread across the region here for the high on Friday. Warming up slightly as we head into the weekend, though we do get a cooler shot of air coming in on the back half of the weekend, knocking highs back into the 50s and 60s for the day on Saturday, the exception being off to the south and to the east. Monday, we start the warming trend then again as quiet high pressure dominates the region. High temperatures mostly in the 60s and 70s Monday, 70s on Tuesday, and then warming up more as we head into the day on Wednesday. Forecast low temperatures for the next few days, just kind of tracking that frost risk across the north. Again, these are the forecast overnight lows here today, Friday. Maybe an isolated spot or two, a low-lying area dropping below freezing, seeing some frost today. Otherwise, I think that frost risk is going to be confined to the Dakotas and then perhaps parts of northeastern Nebraska into near the Missouri River Valley here in far western Iowa. Heading into the morning on Saturday, again, here's where we've got the freeze warning across northern Michigan. Otherwise, those cold temperatures shifting off across the northeast region, and then beginning to warm Sunday, with frost not a concern across the Corn Belt. As always, Eric Snodgrass will have an in-depth look at the evolution of the next 1 to 2 weeks in our Monday morning ag forecast video. And I'll be back to talk about the Corn Belt once again on Tuesday morning. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.